With a release date of December 26, Squid Game Season 2 could be the greatest late Christmas gift. Or it could not live up to its predecessor, and be a disappointing follow-up that Netflix talked the showrunner into making.
You're a fucking asshole!
In all honesty, I don't think Season 2 will suck. I did at one time, but considering how good the first season was, there's no reason to think they couldn't pull it off again. Set 3 years later, like the release date, the plot will seemingly consist of the same protagonist, returning to the game and trying to find a way to stop it. Other characters include the detective, frontman, the guy who recruits people. As you can tell, I'm trying to avoid names that I can't pronounce. And I'm going to assume, aside from maybe flashbacks, the returning cast ends there. There's an obvious reason for that, and it's something the showrunner kind of regrets, but for the sake of spoilers, I'll leave it there. If you haven't seen Season 1, fix that immediately. There's no good reason not to. And to thank me, you can hit the like button down below, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Since I have no definitive prediction of how good Season 2 will be, I still have to wonder if we needed it. Season 1 definitely did hint at Season 2, makes me question why the showrunner had no intention originally, and the concept we're given could go either way. You'll notice at the beginning they're playing the same game as in Season 1, being red light, green light, and my guess is given the lead's involvement, they're probably going to change up the games to throw them off. This will give us some new games. Track is obviously one of them. How the protagonist got there, we don't know yet. But what I like is the games are still gonna be the main focus. It can't be the only focus, otherwise Season 2 wouldn't be justified. But given the showrunner didn't originally want to do it, it could have easily been one of those things when the best aspect is thrown away. We've seen this in shows like Prison Break. The title inevitably becomes absent, and it's something that rarely ever works. It was one of the main things that I was afraid of, but luckily that won't happen. But even with Season 1, it is worth noting, the subplots weren't that interesting. They weren't bad, but I didn't care about the cop that much. The whole organ thing was fine, but it led to a confusing conclusion. More on that in a minute. But this time the showrunner says they're going to focus more on the frontman's backstory, and the police overall being how they act late on crimes. That's an interesting idea, given in the first season the one cop was the only person to do anything, and the frontman definitely needs more development. There are things in Season 1 that hint at Season 2 being an idea from the beginning, even though he says it wasn't. And one of the main things has to be the season's big overlooked flaw that could maybe be addressed and made sense of in Season 2. In Season 1, there's a theme that the game in which almost everybody dies is justified because they chose to be there and it's completely fair. This is said multiple times throughout the season. The frontman supposedly really cares about this, and it plays a big role in the final episode.
That you forgot how no one had to play and you all put your signatures on the agreement.
Here, every player gets to play a fair game under the same conditions.
I bring this up because it's such bullshit. The idea that everybody chose to take a risk is blatantly untrue. Nobody knew the games were gonna be deadly. Tons of people died in Game 1, so no choice there. And even though they did vote to choose who comes back, they did say if they followed the rules, they'd be okay. That's not what happens. The games are clearly designed so almost everybody dies, and in most cases it's impossible not to. As for fairness, they let the stronger contestants kill the weaker ones. In fact, they want it. It's supposedly an additional game. I'd be okay with this, we don't need righteous villains, but why add all this shit? Why pretend there's any decency here? However, it is actually fixable, and if they did this, Season 1 would become even better. Toward the end, the frontman claims that people are essentially horses for the use of betting, and to fix the narrative, well, that has to be the narrative. It has to be implied that that was the only purpose. As for the speech he gave, it could have just been to trick the other men. And yeah, the old man did say the same thing at the end, but I don't know, he did try and stop the killing at one point, so maybe he's not completely okay with it. He was dying after all, they probably could explain it somehow. I don't know, but if Season 2 continues to have both narratives, that's gonna be an issue. It's definitely fixable, another reason I'm confused about only one season originally. So the undercover cop and a number of things that seemed unfinished could make Season 2 a justifiable endeavor, and maybe even just as good. I'm a bit confused about the inclusion of global games. Red Light, Green Light, Tug of War, and Marbles, I think we know what those are. I kinda like seeing things we haven't seen before, but apparently the showrunner wants things more basic. It could be okay, I guess we'll have to see. We also have some controversial actors accused of sexual abuse and drug use in the military, a bit of an uncommon addition these days. And even if it does all work out and Season 2 is even better, they'll still have Season 3 to mess it all up.
What's wrong with you, man?
Yeah, unless season 2 is a complete cliffhanger, I don't see how a third season can repeat the games again. In which case we'll have to do something else similar to the Hunger Games, and while I don't remember disliking the latter two movies, the first two were still the best, because again, the thing in the title you tend to want to see. I'm not saying it can't be done, but I am skeptical about 3 seasons. That will be the end though. Can they stick the landing? Who knows, but season 2 does look promising. I would love to see the one inherent flaw fixed, but it should be a fun watch regardless. I'm not saying I predict it will be real good, but it is a possibility. The fact is, you just can't know. That's all I can say for now, basically what we know so far, so again, if you enjoyed, please hit the like button down below. Subscribing is down there too, and remember to share the video, because the algorithm is about as good as an antagonist who is a fucking hypocrite. Also, if you like gaming, I have a channel for that too, link in the description. I'm the Analyst, and remember kids, even if season 2, and 3 for that matter, aren't as good, you can always count on Netflix to make some fine spin-offs. Yeah. So, you've made it to the end. That's an impressive feat indeed. Since you managed that, I guess check out the gaming channel, in which I cover a variety of gaming topics, like analysis videos, such as this one. If you're into that, then press the link in the description. It's that simple.